Hey, what is up everybody? Zero Fats here coming at you on behalf of Life and Times of Zero Fats.adventuresontheriver.com. You are watching State of Zero, Episode 2, and let me ask you something. What would happen if all you had to do in life was the things you wanted to do, and everything else just kind of took care of itself? All the decisions you had to make, that you didn't really feel like making, they just kind of took care of themselves. All the complicated stuff that you had to learn to get to the places you wanted to get to just kind of took care of themselves, and you just were free to do the things you wanted to do, right? What would happen? How cool would that be? Well, we're going to get into it and we're going to talk about it right here on State of Zero Episode 2. Okay everybody, welcome to State of Zero Episode 2. Before we get into this, I want to start you off with a little bit of a story here. Now this morning was a typical day at my house, you know. We were all hustling and bustling and getting ready to get the kids to school. Everyone had their jobs and trying to get done. I was making breakfast and packing lunches. You know, my wife was helping the kids get ready, and everybody was doing things. It was a busy, typical American family morning here at our house. Now while all this hustle and bustle was going on, you know, my son, my beautiful little son, he's 6 years old, he found time. If you could just imagine a tornado of activity, of people moving around doing things, and in the midst of the tornado of activity, you can imagine my little 6-year-old son coming over to his dad's whiteboard and drawing this tree. And he draws this tree, and then you're looking at it right now. He draws this tree on my whiteboard, and he puts this little like knot hole in the middle of it, and it says, "I love you," you know? And that's what he did. He did that, you know, and I just think that's a beautiful thing. But my son, you know, he had his own jobs to do this morning, and you know, he was getting everything done, and he made this decision, okay? He didn't need a computer to help him do it. He didn't need a computer to do it for him. He didn't need help with this task. He made this very, very human decision to just come over to this board and write this message for everybody. You know, and as big as you please, it's a tree, and it says, "I love you." So, and it means a lot to me, but it's very like congruent with what I want to talk to you guys about today. I was doing my normal routine stuff for internet marketing type stuff, doing some Facebook and some YouTube stuff yesterday, answering some emails and stuff, and I happened upon a banner ad, I think it was on Facebook, for this thing called The Grid. And I was like, the grid, what's that, you know? And this isn't really about the grid, just so you know. I'm not trying to, like, you know, say the grid is crappy, or I'm not trying to down anybody's product any way, shape, or form. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just a point of reference. But this thing was for the grid. And like, let me just give you a little bit of, you know, what the grid is. The grid, it's artificial intelligence websites that design themselves, okay? The grid, artificial intelligence websites that design themselves. And if you watch the video for the grid, it goes on to say, you know, designing, developing, dragging, and dropping, these are all full-time jobs. Wouldn't it be better if you could just do what you care about and have all the other stuff just happen? Wouldn't it be better? You know, that was kind of like the premise for the grid. And the idea is, you know, you answer a few questions, and, you know, the grid basically takes care of everything. You answer a few questions, and it designs the website for you based on how you answered the questions. You know, like, let's say, I always come back to the same example, but let's say I wanted to do a website on baseball strategies, you know. The grid, I'd answer a few questions, and the grid would, you know, design the website theme and just make everything for me, design it all for me, and put it together for me to where it would just be optimal for what I wanted to do, whether that was attract buyers or attract readers, attract people who liked baseball, whatever I wanted to do, the grid would handle everything for me and just design it all for me. All I have to do is answer a few questions. And obviously, at face value, you think, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. You know, and for this service, I think, I looked at it, I think it was like $97 a year is what you'll be charged for this service. But the price is really irrelevant. It doesn't matter about the price. It's the idea of handing control over to software. And the reason why I thought it was interesting was because, you know, when you design a website, like if I was going to design a website for baseball strategies, yeah, I have to make some decisions, right? And my decisions are going to be like, okay, how do I want my website to look? What color scheme do I want to use? How do I want the layout to be? Like, when people come to my website, what do I want them to see? You know, how do I want my articles laid out? Where do I want my videos and stuff like that? Basic, like, just kind of decision-making stuff. And a lot of people might feel a little overwhelmed by those decisions. They might feel a little overwhelmed, and they might feel a little, you know, taken aback and just kind of feel like this is too much for me. I can't do all this, you know, and all this and all that. And they're kind of fighting, you know, they're fighting inside with, like, you know they want to get to here, but in order to get to here, they have to handle all these decisions and they have to figure out what's the right thing to do. And somewhere in that decision-making process, they start thinking, what is the correct way to do this? But what they don't realize is, the truth is, you know, we're talking about human behavior. We're talking about what's going to be attractive and what's going to be nice for other humans, right? So there's really no right answer when it comes to building a website. You know, there's what works for you. You know, what do you like, man? When you go to a website, what do you like? You know, and I think that people get caught up with trying to come up with that idea of what is the correct way to do something, that they forget that there is really no correct way to do anything. It's an art form. You know, designing a website, it's an art. You know, it's something, you know, that people find visually appealing, something that people find practical and useful and efficient. But it's all just perception and art, you know. And there's one thing that I know about computers and about, you know, software. It's not really, you know, naturally gifted with perception and art. It's not, you know. Anything that a computer and that a software program knows about perception and art is because we as humans instilled it upon that software or that computer. We put it there. The best that a computer can do, the best that an artificial intelligence can do is imitate perception and art. Because a computer really has no perception. You know, it has no real opinion on art, you know. It doesn't. You know, it's only what we impress upon the computer. It's only what we put in there, you know. Can it grow? Can it learn? I mean, you could argue that a computer could learn, you know, based off of code that we instill upon it. But it's limited in its learning ability. You know, it's limited. So it's so funny to me that we as people, as a society, are so willing to give up our decision making to computers. Just because tasks seem daunting to us, or they seem overwhelming to us, for some reason we feel like the computer is going to do a better job than us, you know? It's this lack of confidence in ourselves, you know, that makes us want to hand over control to the computer because we don't want to take the time to learn how to do this stuff ourselves. Oh, take the time to learn how to do it myself? Oh, I don't really want to do that. It's going to take too long. Oh, hire someone to do it? Oh, that's going to cost money, and then I'll have to hire someone to do it every time I want to do it. Oh, man, wait a minute. Software? Are you kidding me? Software? I can buy some software, and I can push a button, and it's all done for me, and it's perfect? That's beautiful. The problem is it's not really beautiful. It's still computer software. It's still imitating grace. Do you see what I'm saying? It's imitating grace. It's imitating art. It's not real. It's only imitation. Computers don't understand perception and art, you know. So it's an imitation. So then, that's what you have. Now you guys, I'm not going to go through the trailer for the grid. You guys can look that up on Google all you want and figure out about the grid all you want. That was just an example. I want to give you some more examples though. So this is like kind of some things that have been written about Google, The more you hand your life over to Google, the more you get out of this technology. And we're talking about some of the technologies that Google implants and imprints into its search engine, Google Plus, YouTube, the search engine itself, Google Glass, all these different Google products. They're designed in a way to where like the more you give over your life to them, the more you get out of them. The more personal information you give up and the more information you give them about yourself and your life, the more the technology works for you. Now look, I've done like essays on this in college about this kind of stuff with Google, and I've been quoted in interviews that I've done as saying I don't believe in SEO, okay, and this is all true. And Serge Brennan, okay, I'm just going to read this quote. Ultimately, as page and co-founder, Serge Brennan has asserted, the goal is to insert a chip inside your head for the most effortless search engine imaginable. And that's true. If you look it up, man, if you look it up, Serge Brennan, the founder or the co-founder of Google, and the people who created Google, their ultimate goal is to integrate you with their search engine, man. They want to put a chip in your brain. Now, if you combine that with other things that happened with Google, about how they were, allegedly giving tons and tons of people's private information, handing it over to the NSA, kind of conspiring with the government for personal information of people in the country. You could go on and on into this, But the point is, Google wants in your mind. They want in your mind. That's just the point of it. And the reason, me personally, this is kind of a separate subject, but the reason why I don't personally like SEO and why I don't believe in SEO is because I know that Google has engineers. I know that they have tons and tons of very, very well-paid people who every day, their job is to sit around and decide, how can we make our search engine more human? How can we make our search engine more human? How can we imitate human behavior more? How can we do it? So every day that we're using the search engine and we're trying to build websites and we're trying to do this and we're trying to do that to rank, every day these very well-paid people are sitting around trying to figure out how real people think, how real people interact on the internet, and that's how they want to base their search engine results on. So SEO is really irrelevant, and it's going to become more and more irrelevant as the day goes by. Okay, and the reason is because that search engine is striving to be as close to human as possible. Okay, human efficacy. It's striving to imitate. So what that means is you really just need to get on there and be yourself. You just need to get on there and type your article just like you would normally talk. Okay, and the search engine is going to become more and more intuitive, and it's going to be able to see what you're doing and relate it to what it really is. Okay, so just write for the people, basically. Don't write for the search engines. Okay, as the years go by, search engine optimization is going to become less and less of a factor. Okay, so that's kind of off subject, but the point that I'm making is this. Okay, when you look at like the AI thing, and you look at like the grid and stuff like that, and you look at Google and what they're going to and stuff like that, to me it's scary. It's scary that we as a human race hand over so willingly our decision-making processes. When it comes to a website, I think like 40,000 people have already pre-ordered the grid. I mean, that's crazy to me, man. It's not even out yet. People are already signing up for it, man. People just want that ability just to hand over their decision making on their website. Man, think about that. This is a website that you've dedicated money to. You've put time and effort into. This was your vision. It is your vision. It's your goals. It's your dreams. You're putting into that website. And those big important decisions like, what color should my website be? How should I format it? How should these things be displayed? Blah, 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 blah. These decisions, you're handing over to a machine. You're handing them over to a machine because you feel more confident in this software to imitate what humans want than you feel in your own ability to decide what you like and what works for you. Or is it just lack of confidence that you can, get the website to where you want it to look? There's a conditioning factor here going on. We as people, as the years go by, are being more and more conditioned to hand over our decision-making processes to computers. More and more conditioned to let computers decide things for us. Well, at what point are we not spelling anymore? At what point are we not writing anymore? We've handed all that over to a computer. At what point are we not designing websites anymore? Because we have no idea how to do that. We've handed it all over to a computer. At what point do we not drive anymore? Because we've handed that over to a computer. At what point do we not cook anymore? Because we've handed that over to a computer. At what point do we not do math anymore? Because we've handed that over to a computer. And the list goes on and on and on. And the farther the list goes, the more scary it gets. Because if you think about us as a human culture, how do we improve ourselves as people by handing all these decisions over to a computer? This right here, this was part of the Grid's advertisement trailer. Wouldn't it be better if you could just do what you care about and have all that other stuff just happen? Well, see, as a self-made entrepreneur, I can tell you it would not be better. Because all that other stuff is part of the journey. It's part of the journey, For me to get from A to B, I had to go on a journey to get there. I remember 2 years ago, well, alright, I'm showing my age, maybe 3 years ago now. I remember in 2010, well, I guess, in 2010, I lost my job and I started a journey in 2010. And I didn't know what exactly the journey was at the time, but I knew I wanted to go into business. By 2011, 2012, I knew that my goal was I wanted to be 100% independent and work for myself. And then the goal evolves. As I accomplished that goal, my goal got on to more. It's always more, In 2013 and 2014, I accomplished that goal, and I'm 100% independent now, work for myself 100%. But the goal evolves. Then the goal becomes, how can I make at least $10,000 a month or whatever? Now the goal becomes that, and the goal gets more and more, and it evolves. But as I go on this journey from point A to point B, I'm learning all these things. I'm learning how to build a WordPress site. I'm learning what an effective YouTube channel needs. What do I need to build an effective YouTube channel? What does it take to do that? I'm learning. I'm learning all these valuable skills as I go, and this is called experience, right? Now, you think about this. Wouldn't it be better if you could just do what you care about and have all that other stuff just happen? Well, how would it be better? I mean, you don't even know what you care about half the time. When I started, I knew I wanted to make a living for myself, 100% independent. But what did I really know about that? I knew I cared about doing it, I knew I wanted the freedom of it, but what the hell did I really know about it? I didn't know anything. Now if I had a computer do everything for me and just figure it all out, how dependent am I on that computer to make things happen? What if it breaks down? I'm a baby. I'm just like a little baby. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to build a WordPress site. The computer did it for me. I don't know how to do marketing. The computer did it for me. I don't know how to do anything. The software has done everything for me. It's nonsense. Think for yourselves, people. Think for yourselves. It's scary. It's scary. Last week we talked on State of Zero about them putting like bugs in your smartphones so that they could like hear your conversations and record them as code. All right, and it kind of ties into this whole thing. It really does. You know, us relinquishing control of our lives more and more over to computers. I mean, I know for a fact right now, if I go down to the local McDonald's and their network shuts down, they can't even take any orders. They lose thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars within 1 hour if their network goes down. They can't even use like the old cash register method. They can't take your money, they won't take your money, they have no idea what to do. They can't do it. And that goes on and on. I could go on and on about stores that can't do anything when their system goes down. Can't do it. So what I say to you is this, right? And you got to make your own decisions. But what I say to you is this. My son drew this picture this morning. A simple picture of a tree and a message. And you know, he made the decision in his mind to do this in the midst of a get ready for the day storm, right? He didn't need a computer to tell him how to do this, okay? He didn't need a computer to tell him how to draw this tree or how to write I love you in this little knot. He didn't need it. And what I tell you now is you don't need it either, okay? If your goal and your vision is to build a website, then man, go learn how to build a website. Don't entrust it to a computer program, okay? Don't entrust it to software. Embrace the struggle. And that's what I tell you, all right? I implore you, embrace the struggle, all right? Learning how to build a website, learning how to build a YouTube channel, learning how to advertise on Facebook or Google or anywhere, it's always a learning process. There's always a learning curve, and it's always a struggle, man. Embrace the struggle. For you to get from A to B, there's going to be a struggle involved, you know? Don't make the mistake of thinking that these computer softwares can just take care of everything for you and essentially being your babysitter, right? Because now you're going to be a baby, and they're going to take care of everything for you and just be your babysitter, right? Don't make the mistake of thinking that's a good idea, because it's not, man. Embrace the struggle. Learn what you need to learn. We live in the age of information. You can learn how to do anything, all right? So man, if you want to make a website, go learn how to do it. Don't get overwhelmed by these decisions of what color should I make my website? What layout should I use for my website? All right? Like, sit down at your kitchen table and envision it in your mind. I really like if I could just get like a lot of windows everywhere on my website. I really like it if I could just like put a tree in the middle of my website that says I love you. And then like I'll just put the options around it for what people want to pick, you know? I would really like that, you know? And like think about it. And once you got the idea in your mind and you got the vision of it, then like that's over half the battle. Once you know what you want, then it's just a matter of getting there. Then you scour the internet, you look at YouTube videos, you try to figure out how to do it. And if you can't figure it out, you find someone else who can help you. And that's the beauty of the internet, being able to network with other real human beings that can help you get what you want. But the idea of just turning it all over to an artificial intelligence system is very dangerous to me. It's very dangerous. I could have gave you another article about cars, how cars are starting to have chips that allow them just to drive for you. Very, very scary stuff to me. Very scary. And you know, maybe you think I'm a dinosaur. Maybe you think I need to get with the times. But I mean, how many movies like The Terminator do you have to watch? How many movies like The Matrix do you have to watch before you start to see that that's reality, man? That's real. That could really happen. And if it's not the computers doing it to you, it'll be a sinister force behind the computers doing it to you. A sinister force that wants control and that are using the computers to get control over you, over your lives, over everything. Anyways, that's a little bit weird, but I promise you the things I'm saying are not made up. It's not fiction. It's all true. It's all really happening. You go look up about Google and you'll find out that they do want to put a chip in your brain. They want to integrate you with their search engine, without a doubt. Technology hasn't advanced far enough for them to be able to do it yet. But they're getting there. They're frustrated that it's not there yet, but they want it there. Trust me. They want to integrate with you. Absolutely. And that's scary. The grid is something that's going to be around this year probably. You know, it's happening. Cars, absolutely. They're working on that technology right now to where the cars can just drive themselves. Absolutely. Matter of fact, I think there's a car coming out this year that's going to be able to do just that. So check it out, man. Don't take my word for it. Keep in mind, man, only humans understand art and perception, you know. Not machines, not software. Okay? Anyway, that's my opinion. This is State of Zero. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If so, man, please like, please share, please subscribe. Be yourselves. Don't give over your decision making to software and machines. It's nonsense. I'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Check me out on my blog, lifeandtimes@zerofats.adventuresontheriver.com. Peace, everybody. Be safe.